Well, like fine wine, there is an art to appreciating fine tea. My next guest has just opened a new tea and kombucha bar in Vancouver. Jude Wang is the co-owner of Cultivate Tea. He joins us now. Great to see you, Jude.
Good to see you too.
Thank you so much for being here. Just how diverse would you say the different types of tea that are out there are?
It's just so diverse. You've got green tea, you've got white tea, you've got oolong, you've got black. And they all taste different. So the processing is different, but they all actually come from the same plant. It's just how you actually process, how you make them, that makes a difference. Okay,
and speaking of that process, you've brought quite the elaborate setup here. Shall we start with this? What's happening here?
Yes, so this is, in here is actually Japanese kishu binchotan. It's basically a special type of charcoal that purifies water. So with good tea, it's actually really important to use good water. So we always start with this good water.
Okay.
And here we've got a green tea here I'm going to brew for you. This is actually a wild harvest green tea. And this kind of brewing is called the Kombucha method. So basically that just means brewing tea with great skill. And what I'm doing is actually I'm just using something, a smaller brewing vessel, and I'm just making very quick infusions, but many, many infusions.
Okay, and what characteristics are we talking about when we focus on green tea?
Well, green tea is very fresh, so it's really important to drink something from this year. So this green tea here I'm making for you was picked just at the end of March. So that's very important. And then green tea is also it's got lots of health benefits. It's high antioxidants, and it's good for drinking in the summertime.
Now, you didn't let that steep very long.
No, not at all. Good tea doesn't need to steep for very long, but it will steep for many infusions.
Do you think that's a common misconception people sometimes have about tea?
Yes,
because oftentimes you'll see people steep it for a very long time.
Exactly. People are always surprised to see that there's almost no color in the tea, but actually it tastes really good.
Okay,
so cheers.
Cheers, let's try it. It's incredibly fragrant. That's the first thing you get.
Yes, and very smooth, right? It's not bitter at all.
I have to say, I'm surprised that it has that much flavor, considering how
it was barely in contact with the water.
Barely in there.
Yes, exactly.
And so that's a quality of good tea. Is that what you're describing?
Yes. And you can do this many infusions. You just keep going. So while we have this conversation, you can just keep brewing the tea 5-6 times, just like that.
And each time, because if you're brewing it the second time, do you have to keep it in longer at the second time, or
just no, not really. It's just the same thing. See that? Just water goes in and water comes out.
Amazing. All right, shall we move on?
Of course.
What do we have here?
Yeah, so the next tea that we have is called green peony. This is quite a special tea, and we make it in a special way. So this is from Yunnan, and the guy, he makes the tea himself, and he only made 10 kilograms of this tea for the whole year, and he was able to spare us only about 1.5 kilos for this year.
Why does he make such a little amount?
It's just because there's not enough, it's just very limited, right? The leaves are first harvest, and it takes a lot of time to make, so it's just, it just doesn't...
Obviously, this is a different method.
It is a different method, yes.
What difference does this make?
Well, for white teas, the leaves are really beautiful, so you want to have something open and glass so you can actually see the leaves. And this tea doesn't get bitter, so you can just keep on adding hot water to it, and you just, what you do is you just scoop out this, and you just into your cup.
Okay, so this is a white tea.
Yes, it is a white tea.
And once again, you didn't let it sit.
No, it doesn't just sit for very long, no.
So what should we expect flavor-wise?
This is very, very light, but very refreshing, a little bit floral.
It's actually incredibly floral.
It is. It's very aromatic.
And the biggest difference with white tea and green tea?
White tea is, there's no heat being applied for the processing, so white tea is actually the most natural type of tea. It's got lots of antioxidants, lots of vitamins and minerals still in the leaves. So that's what, and green tea is actually being heated up, so it has been either pan-fried or steamed.
I see. Yeah. Why do you think it's important for people to try the different types of tea that are out there and perhaps step away from what we're pretty used to when it comes to mainstream ideas of tea?
I think it's important that people can just taste different types of teas and understand that different teas have such diverse taste. Many people don't know that they don't know that actually tea can taste very good or doesn't taste bitter. I think a lot of people think that tea should taste astringent or bitter, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mentioned tea, but I also mentioned kombucha, and I think that's what we have over here. For those unfamiliar, obviously kombucha has been around for a while, but your definition of how you would describe it?
Kombucha is basically a tea through fermentation, so it's fermented tea. Now, using really good tea makes a huge difference in the kombucha, and also the processing makes a huge difference as well. So we start with, our purified water, and we do a cold infusion of the tea, which tastes more refreshing. And we always start with a green tea blend and our own blend of tea.
So kombucha is always green tea?
No, actually, kombucha most of them is actually black tea. So people are always surprised that you can actually make kombucha from green tea. But we always think that it tastes best because it's just more refreshing.
We've certainly seen a boom in kombucha, obviously non-traditional perhaps flavors as well. Why do you think that is? What has fascinated people about it?
I think people will like it because it's healthy, it's got lots of probiotics, and people are always interested in trying different things. And with kombucha, there's so much things you could do. You can make a pure tea one, you can make whatever flavors you want, like with pineapple, strawberries, lavender, mint. So people always want to try new things.
And speaking of kombucha, it very much follows this idea of make it yourself, do it yourself. If someone is new to tea, to kombucha, where would you recommend they start, Jude?
They can I think the best way is to start reading about it online, how to make it, and just trying it out. Because that's, at the end of the day, you're going to learn most by trying, by actually doing it. So yeah, just try it out.
And just before we wrap, should we try one?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Which one's this?
This is our pure jasmine kombucha. So this has just jasmine in it, that's it.
Yeah. So it's quite simple.
It is, but it's very good. Please try.
Oh, and it's incredibly fragrant as well.
It is, yes.
Jude, it was great to see you. Thank you so much, and I will drink to that.
Thank you so much. Cheers.